Let me tell y'all, today's story is wild. And it's one you're definitely going to want to hear all the way through to the very end. We're talking about Melody, Shari, and the chaos that went down outside of the courthouse involving Martell, Holt, and Arian Curry. Now, I know drama with these three is nothing new. But the way it all unfolded during a custody case will have you shaking your head. So don't you dare click off, because what I'm about to share with you is a full story time that Melody herself broke down. And trust me, the details get crazier and crazier as it goes along, okay? Stick with me, because by the time we reach the end, you're going to understand just how deep this drama goes. Melody started off by sharing that this whole thing happened during a custody case situation, and already tensions were high. Everyone knows the history between Melody and Martell. Their marriage ended in shambles, thanks in large part to his long-term affair with Arian Curry, who has been publicly labeled as his mistress for years. Even though that relationship caused the breakup of a family, it seems like Martell still insists on dragging Arian into situations where she has no business being. And this courthouse incident was just another example of that. Melody explained that after court, she was simply trying to go about her business. But Martell and Arian had other plans. Now, picture this. Melody is outside the courthouse trying to stay composed. And she notices this tall guy about 6'x muscular, standing around pretending to be on his phone. But something about him seemed off. She realized he wasn't really on a call. Instead, it looked like he was recording, and the whole thing felt like a setup. Already, you can feel the tension rising, right? And it only got worse from there. Melody shared that she and her friend Jason decided to sit on a bench to avoid walking right into any kind of conflict. They didn't want trouble, they weren't trying to chase drama, and honestly, who would in a situation like that? They thought by waiting, they'd give Martell and Arian enough time to leave the courthouse area and head to their car. And here's the hook: you would think that would be the end of it. You'd think they'd leave and everyone would go their separate ways. But oh no, that's not what happened. According to Melody, after waiting and assuming Martell and Arian were gone, she stood up to take a quick selfie because she was feeling herself, looking good in her white outfit, and just wanted to capture the moment. But as soon as she stood up, guess what? Here comes Martell and Arian circling back like they weren't finished. They had already walked away, but then they decided to return for more. Can you believe that? Who does that after a courthouse hearing? It's almost like they wanted another chance to provoke her. And Melody could tell that too. She even said it seemed like they thought, wait, she didn't take the bait the first time. Let's go try again. Now this is where you really need to stay tuned, because things get even more intense. Melody described how Martell and Arian came back around, and this guy who had been pretending to be on his phone suddenly turned into someone recording her. Melody asked him directly, "Why are you recording me? For what?" And here's the kicker: Martell had just pled guilty to harassment. And now here he was, right back in the middle of another harassment-type situation. Melody herself said it best. "Didn't you just plead guilty to harassment and now you're harassing me again?" Make it make sense. That's the level of nonsense we're dealing with here. At this point, Melody decided to head toward her car with Jason, trying to create some distance, but she noticed something else. Martell and Arian were right behind them. Imagine that feeling. You've got your ex-husband and his mistress trailing behind you after court, recording you, trying to provoke you. Melody even shifted positions so Jason could move to the side because she didn't want them directly behind her. She told Martell and Arian, "No, y'all can go ahead," and eventually they walked past, but the energy was still heavy. Melody kept calling it what it was: harassment, plain and simple. And let me pause here to remind you, don't go anywhere. This story isn't even close to done yet. If you think this is crazy, what happened next is going to leave your jaw on the floor. So keep watching till the end, because every twist matters. So Melody's walking with Jason, trying to move on, when she runs into someone she didn't expect: Hannah Grace, a content creator who was at the courthouse too. Melody didn't recognize her at first, But Hannah came up, greeted her politely, and Melody, being the person she is, responded kindly. She even gave Hannah a hug, showing once again that she's not trying to bring negativity or conflict. She was just living in the moment, dealing with way too much already. But Melody wasn't. Done processing what happened, she told Jason she wanted to go back to the courthouse to let the city attorney know what had just gone down. This part is so important because it shows Melody wasn't just going to brush off the harassment. She wanted it on record. And that tells you how serious things got. She even said she wasn't quick to grab her phone and record everything because she doesn't live her life that way. She's not trying to chase clout or create moments. She's genuinely in disbelief most of the time that these things even happen to her. And honestly, who could blame her? Imagine walking out of a courthouse and being circled back on by your ex and his mistress, with someone recording you for no reason other than to cause trouble. And y'all, let's not forget who we're talking about. Martell Holt, who has been known for explosive behavior on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, and Arian Curry, who has been at the center of scandal after scandal, showing up at the courthouse. When she had no official role in this custody case, it wasn't her business. And yet here she was, right in the middle of it, backing Martell and contributing to this whole ambush situation. Now, if you followed the show, you know this isn't the first time Melody's had to deal with Martell's antics. We've seen their relationship fall apart. We've seen the betrayal. We've seen the arguments. And we've seen how Martell often refuses to take accountability. Adding Arian into the mix has only made things worse. So this courthouse situation wasn't some random one-off. It was part of a bigger pattern that Melody's been dealing with for years. And honestly, it's exhausting even to hear about. But here's what makes this particular incident so striking. Melody wasn't out there yelling, fighting, or taking the bait. She kept calm, even when she was being followed, even when someone was recording her, even when Martell and Arian circled back trying to get a reaction. She stayed focused on handling things the right way by going back to the courthouse to report it. That's a powerful example of grace under fire, especially considering everything she's been through with Martell and Arian in the past. And let me tell you, this is why you need to keep watching till the end. Because Melody's reaction here says a lot about where she is in her journey. She's no longer the woman Martell can control, manipulate, or humiliate. She's showing strength in the middle of drama, and that's what makes this story so important. So as the day continued, Melody explained how Martell and Arian eventually went to their vehicle, but the crazy part, for them to get where they did, they had to circle all the way back around. That means this wasn't some coincidence. It wasn't like they just happened to bump into her again. They deliberately came back into her space after already leaving once. It shows intent. It shows provocation. That shows they were trying to stir the pot. And for what? To get a reaction? To intimidate her? To make her feel unsafe? And if you're watching right now, let me know what you think in the comments. You think Martell brought Arian just to stir up drama? You think she should have even been there in the first place? Because from where I'm standing, looks like this was a calculated move to rattle Melody during an already difficult custody process. Now, let's not forget that Melody Shari has been one of the strongest voices on Love and Marriage, Huntsville. She's dealt with public humiliation, betrayal, and constant attacks, yet she continues to stand tall. This courthouse incident is just another example of the kind of unnecessary drama she's had to endure because of Martell's decisions. And when you add Arian Curry to the mix, it only amplifies the chaos. But through it all, Melody continues to shine. She's building businesses, raising her kids, and keeping her composure even when the odds are stacked against her. And that's exactly why fans continue to support her. They see the strength it takes to walk through situations like this without breaking. They see the maturity it takes not to lash out when you're provoked in public. And they see the courage it takes to keep going, no matter what obstacles get thrown in your path. So let's wrap this up, but make sure you stay until the very Last word, because I want to leave you with this final thought. What we witness through Melody's story isn't just drama for entertainment. It's a real-life example of a woman standing up against harassment, intimidation, and provocation. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to fight back is not with anger or conflict, but with composure, documentation, and truth.